Why is it that all Tesla owners have iPhones? Or is it that all iPhone owners have Teslas? Comment down below if you have an iPhone and you have a Tesla. Now, regardless if you're a software engineer or not and you have an iPhone and you drive a Tesla, let's dive into how to set up your new iPhone and the best and most important settings to have, even if you do or don't drive a Tesla. So this is the new iPhone 16 Pro Max. I mean, look at, oh! You might be upgrading from an older iPhone or switching from Android to Apple, but with all the menu sections and subsections and 2 or 3 buttons on the entire device, it might seem a little confusing. There's also one thing I always forget to do that screws me over every time, so make sure to keep on watching. Now, let's first quickly talk about transferring your current data on your phone to your new phone. And with iPhones, it's super easy. Just make sure you have all your iCloud info all ready to go. You also want to make sure you backed up all your important data on iCloud. Now for me, I'm cheap, so I only got the free 5 GB version of iCloud. So what I have backed up on the cloud is passwords, notes, health, calendar, and all my apps. If you have iCloud Plus with more storage, you can simply enable iCloud backup with backups, photos, messages, and everything else. There's also other advanced settings like advanced data protection, and I'll go over that in probably another video. But for now, just make sure you have all the important stuff backed up on the cloud just in case. For me, my older phone was 1 TB, so I have a ton of photos and videos. So backing all this up wirelessly will take way too long. So the best way, just do everything on a local computer and transfer it that way, or you can now plug in both phones with a USB-C cable to make things faster. You can also do this with a USB-C to Lightning cable as well, which is what I have to do. Okay, hello. So very simple, you're gonna choose your language, medium, large. I'm old, so I like that medium font though. Okay, so very simple, quick start, opens up. Make sure it's unlocked and already this pops up. Set up new iPhone. And then all I have to do is bring this over here and scan that. So if you ever have any issues, try locking it and unlocking it. You may have to restart the phone as well. Set up for me. Once you enter your passcode, it finishes setting up. So we're gonna see how long it's gonna take. So here we go right now. Because we have an eSIM to an eSIM, I can transfer my phone number to this one. Estimated transfer time is only 15 to 20 minutes, that's it? Okay, let's see other options. I can't do iCloud backup because I don't have enough data to back up. From another iPhone, that's what I'll probably do. From Mac or PC, that's another great option. Or from the Android. And I like how this shows when you're ready, come back to get this iPhone ready to be traded and sold or given away. So they kind of make everything easy for you when you are ready for that. So I'm gonna try from another iPhone. Yeah, so I thought it would be possible to USB-C to Lightning. Like if I can do this, can I just plug it in and see what happens? What? Did you guys know you could do that? You can charge your iPhone 16 Pro Max to charge another phone. That's insane. So here we go. This is the best way. It has all this stuff for you. So let's see how long it's gonna take. So is it gonna be quicker if I plug it in and it knows to plug it in? Because it never said plug in your iPhone for quicker transfer time. Sweet mercy. Do you see this? 4 hours to transfer everything. Oh, so this is as it's plugged in. So it knows it's plugged in and it says 7 hours. So imagine, see, look, now it's going up. Now it's gonna be doing it via Bluetooth, and it is going to take a lot longer. With Android phones, if you're switching over, they also make it very easy, and that's done via Wi-Fi. Once you turn on the iPhone, it asks you to set it up with another device, and you transfer that data from your Android device. If you're going to a physical SIM to an eSIM, you have to simply convert the physical SIM to an eSIM. And the beauty is all these carrier settings update automatically. It does it all by itself, so it's super easy. So once you set up your phone from scratch and you transferred it, all that stuff, you still gotta input some important passwords. Now, this is the super important part if this applies to you, which I hope it applies to everyone watching, 2-factor authentication apps. Because if you didn't know, with 2-factor authentication, it links your phone ID to the software. So if you delete your old phone, but you didn't transfer the 2-factor stuff to your new phone, you're screwed, and it can be a very big hassle. Nowadays, apps like Google Authenticator uses the cloud, so even if you get a new iPhone, you don't need to worry anymore. But just check all the apps, make sure it's all transferred before you delete your old phone. But let's talk about some important security settings. I mean, everyone needs to look over this, make sure these are enabled or disabled because you don't want to lose your over $1,000 and in my case, almost $2,000 investment. First, make sure Find My is enabled. If you don't know, it's the way to make sure you can track your phone if it gets lost or stolen. Click Find My iPhone and make sure all of these are checked. You also want to make sure one important setting is disabled, which allows someone to turn off your cell service if they do end up stealing your phone, and that's under Control Center. To do this, go to Settings, it's under Face ID and Passcode. Scroll all the way down and make sure the Control Center is unchecked. This way, someone can't turn off your cell service without needing a passcode or Face ID. And while you're here, let's customize some more important settings. I like enabling Require Attention for Face ID, because if someone does steal your phone and you happen to look indirectly at it and touch the screen while it's facing you, the phone may get a glimpse of you and it could technically unlock. Also, this next feature is so cool, and I guarantee 99% of you don't have this setting enabled. Make sure you have Stolen Device Protection enabled. This is a great feature as it requires additional Face ID biometric verification if the user or the person who jacked your phone is trying to access passwords or stored credit cards. But the real juicy part is if you aren't in a known area when you use your iPhone a lot, like at home or work, it also has a security delay for 1 hour if they're ever trying to change any important settings in an unknown location. This way, someone can't access your phone, change your iCloud password, your Face ID, or use your Apple Wallet, or turn off lost mode. I mean, the list is endless and everyone should enable this. Yes, that means you. Next, go back to your name, go to sign in and security, make sure all your contacts are up to date. If you don't have two-factor authentication enabled by now, I guess you like to live life on the edge. Go to two-factor authentication, you can add trusted phone numbers, but be careful with this. If someone SIM swaps one of those numbers, they can technically have access to those two-factor codes. And now, what is SIM swapping? What is SIM swapping? It's when someone can steal your SIM card or your eSIM, they duplicate that on another phone, so that means they have all the access to your two-factor codes. It's insane. You can also be super hardcore and set up a physical security key, which requires a physical USB key to unlock your account. And while you're here, just go to Account Recovery and add a trusted person just in case you lose access to your account. You can also add a recovery key that is required if you ever try and change your iCloud password. Just make sure you keep this safe. Use a password app like LastPass or 1Password that keeps everything super secure. I know Apple has updated their version of the password app, so you can use that as well. And one feature that I feel like nobody knows is legacy contact. I think they added this after the whole shooting and how even law enforcement can't access your iPhone account. Pretty much let someone have access to all your data in case you pass away. Knock on wood. I also recommend a hidden feature called SIM PIN. Remember when I talked about if someone has access to your SIM, they can bypass the two-factor authentication? This is much more common now with the eSIMs. However, one way to protect yourself is by enabling SIM PIN. It's not a big hassle or anything. It just makes it so anytime you restart your phone, you're required to enable a SIM PIN on top of your device PIN before you can use your cell data service. Other stuff you should password protect are any important notes. If you always forget your ATM PIN all the time, you can securely lock it on your phone by creating a note, hard pressing it, and press lock note. And under the note settings, you can choose a custom password or Face ID or device passcode. You can also lock apps now. So if you have some shady photos, hey, I'm not here to judge. You can hard press the photos icon and press require Face ID. Just know if you do this with, say, the Tesla app, it removes that quick action widget on the home screen. Lastly, check your privacy and security and all the apps that have access to your location. Many of these use your location while using the app and it's open, so just check. Just customize everything and just make sure. Just be careful with the apps that say always, as it's always using your location in the background. I don't know many apps that need to be on always except for those tracking apps like Life 360. Same goes for tracking. You don't need any apps to really track your activity at all. But again, take time to go through this. You only have to do it once, and it all saves on the iCloud for the future. For all the Tesla owners out there, make sure nearby interactions is enabled for your Tesla, as this makes your phone key much more responsive and useful. Lastly, make sure you go to analytics and improvements. Uncheck all of those. Apple doesn't need to know every single detail of our lives and send data and all that stuff. It drains battery, not necessary at all. Just stay safe out there. There's scammers everywhere. And again, Tesla owners out there, you better have two-factor authentication enabled for your Tesla account as well. So now that all your security and most important things are enabled, battery life, baby. We gotta save that battery. If you go to battery, under battery health and charging, make sure you enable optimized battery charging. This is important because just like an electric car like a Tesla, you don't want to keep your iPhone charged to 100% for an extended period of time. So this part applies for like the newer iPhones. I believe the 15 as well as the 16 has the ability to actually customize the amount. So for me, I have it at 90%, just like a Tesla when I charge the Tesla. You can do 80, but I like 90 the best. This way it learns when you use the phone most and it keeps the charge at around 80%, and then it charges to 100% every morning right when you need to use it. Also, take a look at any apps that could potentially be battery drainers by going into settings, general, background apps refresh. You don't need all these apps to constantly refresh in the background. So take the time to scroll through each and every one. I mean, look at this one, Jamba Juice. I don't need Jamba Juice to refresh in the background. Now, for me, I like to keep my financials, security, and like productivity apps on. And of course, make sure you keep the Tesla app enabled. Again, very important for quicker locking and unlocking of your Tesla. Also, head over to the notification settings and turn off any unimportant ones. Similar to backgrounds refresh, I just turn off the ones that's not important. One cool setting to enable is Siri, where you can say, "Hey Siri," and the phone will wake up. Uh-oh, mine just woke up. Now, it can slightly drain your battery, but it's not a crazy amount. But the one thing I love using about this feature is you can use voice commands. So you could do things for, say, your Tesla, like lock the Tesla or turn on Sentry mode without ever having to lift up a finger. To do that, we need to access the Shortcuts app on the phone. One quick and easy way is from the home screen. Just swipe down, type in Shortcuts. Once you're in the Shortcuts menu, under Search, type in Tesla. You can click the name Tesla to pop up all the shortcuts and customize it. I mean, you can't fully customize and do whatever you want, but there are basic functions that can be done. For instance, if I want to open my frunk in my Cybertruck, just search frunk, then you click on the three dots, go to New Shortcut. You can choose which car to open, so Simba or Simba. If you click the down arrow, you can rename it. So when you ask Siri to open it, you just say that and boom, it's done. There are also ways to add this to your Apple Watch, but I'll talk about that in another video. Next, let's talk about setting up the home screen and lock screen so it's optimized, especially if you have something important like a Tesla, as the Tesla uses the phone as a key. Now, if you haven't already, make sure the Tesla app is loaded. You may have to sign in again as it's a safety measure, so nobody can just transfer stuff and you have access to all this stuff. Now, since your old phone is linked to a Bluetooth physical ID, it's not gonna work with the new phone. So the only way is to set it up from scratch. So let's go to the car and set it up. So we're gonna set up. They made it much easier than before. So now we set it up. It was that easy. Okay, so two things you gotta pay attention to is locks, as well as this Bluetooth icon. Also, this is a new feature here. Hopefully you guys are enable this. It reduces the fan speed when you're on a call. This Everydaychris, Apple iPhone 14 Pro Max, Apple iPhone. Do we wanna delete this one? We don't need this one anymore. Less stuff we have, the less it gets confused. We're gonna just delete that. Or to delete that, you're gonna need your key card. And it'll even say Everydaychris has been removed. But we still want this one enabled. We need to make sure that the car knows, for instance, I'm the primary driver, it needs to be me. And then right now it's on Golden Palm Squad. Remember, we want to change the profile. So this needs to be linked to my profile, which is gonna be local EDC. So now I'm on the local EDC profile. I'm gonna go and click the guy. And now it says active Apple iPhone local EDC. We're gonna hit up Bluetooth. So hit Bluetooth and you're gonna see all these, like you have the Xbox wireless controller, Peanut Butter JZ. So now you'll see a little star. That star shows that, that was my previous phone. So we're gonna go ahead and delete that, make sure we delete it. So we're gonna forget device, forget. Now we have this one, Everydaychris. This is the new one that I got, the black one. We're gonna click this. We're gonna say priority device. So it's gonna try to connect to me first. We wanna sync messages. Now, we want to make sure our calendar is synced as well. You just want to make sure you click on the eye, the daddy chill, and then these are all connected and checked. Nothing to it, so now it for sure works. Now let's talk about customizing that lock screen. To do that, all you have to do is tap the screen to make sure it's on, then push down and hold the screen and you can scroll through all the different wallpapers you have. I love the live photos. It may slightly drain your battery a little bit more, but it's so fun and cool. So my chiquito baby. From there, you can add quick access icons or widgets, as well as change the font and the colors. And now you can change the bottom 2 quick access icons, which is cool. Since I now have a dedicated camera button, I don't need to use that quick access one as a camera. Now I can remap it to something else. You can choose up to 2 large widgets or 4 smaller ones and scroll down and see which ones you like. Now, if you ever want to delete a lock screen, you just have to swipe up. And some of them may have a focus with fitness or sleep at the bottom. This allows you to set a different wallpaper based on the do not disturb or focus setting you're on. Game changer. So for instance, if it's my bedtime, it switches to a different wallpaper with a completely different app layout. Like I don't want my YouTube Studio app open when I'm about to go to bed. Or if I start a workout and I turn on my Apple Watch, it changes to a different screen. That way I'm not distracted as well. But now that you're on the home screen, you can customize the layout however you want now. And to do that, you can either hold an icon until it vibrates and shakes, or you can hard press on an empty area of the screen to move it that way. You can delete apps by pressing the minus icon, and now you can resize any app with a little gray half circle next to it. What I recommend for quick and easy access to your Tesla at least is to have the Tesla app icon on top, ready to lock or unlock and do whatever you need. And if you don't have it, all you have to do is click edit at the upper left, and you're gonna add a widget, scroll down to Tesla, and add whichever one you want. And it's cool because if you have Tesla Solar, you can add that as well, get some information, super useful. And if you didn't know, you can also have multiple pages of your home screen. You can scroll through them, you can add, delete them. And it's kind of useful if you have a lot of apps. Action button, let's customize the action button. So we can customize it with silent mode, flashlight. I love the animation. They did a great job with that. I think I'm gonna keep it on silent mode, to be honest, because now we have a dedicated camera button we could talk about. Camera control to open the camera app, then click again to use the camera control shutter. Hell yeah, that's the SIM card slot. And because there's no mute button anymore, I recommend a setting to enable so you know your phone is on mute, which is under sounds and haptic. Also, while you're here, under this setting, you can disable or enable sounds and vibrations when using the keyboard. Just be aware that having the haptic on does slightly decrease the battery life every time you use the keyboard. Now, as far as settings go, I feel like I could do a whole dedicated video on these secret settings. So let me know in the comments below if you want to see that. One setting everyone needs to make sure is enabled for all you Android friends out there is called RCS mode. This makes it so you can receive high quality images, respond to text easier, and although it's still a green bubble, you get way more customization than before. It's under settings, apps, and messages, and make sure RCS messaging is checked. Also, make sure low quality image mode is unchecked so you get the best quality images through text messages. One thing off topic, but I have check-in data enabled on full, which can be useful if you travel alone or you're a female in a shady area, or if you like to run at night in the middle of nowhere. Pretty much you can send a check-in option to someone with the final destination, and they'll be able to see where you are, where you've been, and if you made it back safely. And with the new iOS, you can even schedule messages now, which is super cool. And especially with the new iPhone with the dedicated camera photo button, make sure all your camera settings are optimized. And from here, you can easily adjust all the settings. These are the formats I have as a content creator. This is what I use. This is what I like. So in the end, it's all up to you. But don't forget, I feel like no one uses this. You can also hold a subject on the photo, send it as a sticker, save that subject only. You can also copy text from photos as well, which is super awesome and a cool, nifty feature. So, there's so many other things to dive into, but those are the top and most important things to change. So go have fun with your phone. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.